This is Fred from the 42nd edition of the Torino Film Festival, and I'm Cristiana Palmieri in conversation with Dima Yaroshenko, who plays one of the leading characters, Taras, in Dissident, and Aleksandr Omelyanov, producer. And the film is in competition in the feature film competition. So congratulations, welcome to Fred, and welcome to Torino Film Festival.
Thank you very much for having us, for having this opportunity.
Well, I would start with you, Aleksandr. What motivated you to produce this pretty complex film, which has different layers?
Right. So I guess the roots went to my previous jobs as the producer. I worked for 10 years in one of the biggest TV broadcaster of Ukraine, 1+1 Media, where I produced many entertainment content, such as entertainment shows and TV series, which was quite great. But at some point, I realized that it's probably the time for me to try to tell the world some more complex and important stories for myself. And at that time, it was 2011, I decided to quit from this TV broadcaster and established my own company. And my primarily focus was and still is to tell these meaningful stories that can bring some difficult questions that we all have to ask ourselves as often as we can. So I guess that was my general motivation. And regarding the film itself, I think this topic goes to the history of the Ukrainians, our struggling for our freedom, for our identity, and all these hard topics. And that's why I understood that although this topic is quite hard and it's very complex, but this is the way how we can develop ourselves as the human beings and our personality.
Yeah, and I would go back to this point later, Aleksandr, because you touch on a very important aspect of the film. But to Dima, you play Taras in the film, which is one of the leading character. How did you prepare for your role?
Yeah, it was at the beginning. We discussed with group that about that this character of Taras is quite complicated, and he is quite complicated person by nature. At the same moment, also he's in complicated circumstances historically, and we tried to find the way how to present him and how to play. And for me, it was important just to get to find some things a bit image, and my personal character. So we decided to take glasses, and he has also, I have brown eyes, and he has blue eyes. I don't know, in the film, maybe we cannot see it often because it's more like black and white style, but yeah, it gives something just to be a little bit different that I am.
Yeah, I noticed the use of the glasses was a very important feature of that character. I noticed that in particular in the Taras chapter. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I get some chance to play other Ukrainian character. I mean poet, quite known Ukrainian poet Vasil Stus, and premiere was like 2019, and it's already the same time of USSR and time in Ukraine. But Vasil Stus as a poet, it's different, and it was very interesting how to represent Taras, but differently than than Vasil Stus. But at the same moment, it's already people who live in one space, in the one city or one country in the same time, but they are different, and it's also very interesting and important to show and to go through these lines, how people how they live, how they survive, and how other people they accept them and they look on them so differently.
Yeah. It's a very complex character. You watching the film, you actually realize that. I would like to go back to Alexander and going back to that question. You mentioned the complexity of the story told in the Dissident. What message or reflection do you hope audience can take away from the story, especially in the context of Ukraine current struggle for freedom and identity?
Again, it's in the movie. It's many layers of those questions, especially from the different perspective of each character. From Taras' point of view, it's one layer. From the Oleg's eyes, this is a little bit different, and from the point of the view of his wife, it's another one. But in general, I think the message that we are try to send is that the human being in today's world, and it was actually centuries ago, the human being against the system, the machine is very hard fight, and very often the fight is it's hard to win against the system, but it doesn't mean that we have to give up this fighting, and the message is that we all have to have this belief in some general meanings, like the hoping, the struggling for our identity, for the freedom, for something very personal and important for the human being, and of course sometimes it's very hard to understand that this fight will be successful in some short period of time, but in the long term, that's what we have to go. And no matter how many times we would fall down during this struggling, it's the matters how many, like the Churchill said, it's no matter how often you fall down, it matters how often you can stand up and keep fighting and keep going. And of course it's it's also the manifest to all these regular people, human beings, that are keep fighting what they really believe and what is really important to human beings.
I think this is a message that comes from the film very strongly in each of the characters and in each of the chapters in which the film is divided. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Dima Yaroshenko and Aleksandr Omelyanov, who are here to present Dissident at the Torino Film Festival, which is in competition. So good luck with that. And I'm Cristiana Palmieri for Fred, the Festival Insider.